Hi, I'm Leanne. I'm a second year architecture student, and today I will be discussing the role of generative AI in architecture. Architecture is about designing spaces for people, combining creativity with technical knowledge to create buildings that are both functional and meaningful. Recently, artificial intelligence has become part of this process, especially in the early stages of design, where ideas are still being explored. Something Burry 2011 and Kolavarich 2003 both highlight as part of the broader shift towards computational design. In this case study, I investigated how AI can be used to generate conceptual architectural designs and whether it can benefit the design process. The focus was on using AI as a tool for idea generation and various concepts that align with the project brief, a pathway supported by Shay Yu's 2020 research into AI assisted conceptual design. My process through this study was to start with a descriptive initial prompt, then using the response given to create visual results using the AI tool, image generation. After all these steps, I analyzed what I received. To do this, I used ChatGPT to help develop detailed concepts and an image generation AI tool to visualize architectural concepts. I based my initial prompt on a project brief that was for a medium scale residential structure. I included specific details such as a site, who was occupying the building, and the size of the building, and then experimented with different ideas by providing feedback on what I liked or I didn't. This then resulted in a design output that broke down the information I gave. It made the brief easier to understand when broken down in clear aspects, such as circulation or material. I furthered this by asking for four design variations of what this project could look like in different forms. This not only allowed me to see different ways I could showcase my work, but sparked ideas that I didn't initially have. It was quick and broke down key features of each variation in subcategories. Through this process, I generated a range of conceptual images. One of the most notable strengths of AI was its ability to quickly produce visually interesting designs. Within seconds, it created multiple variations that explored different forms, materials, and spatial arrangements. Some of the designs showed strong use of geometry and layering, while others experimented with light, shadow, and connection to the surrounding environment. This kind of rapid idea generation would normally take much longer if done manually on programs such as Rhino or Revit. And Davis 2019 notes that this speed is one of AI's biggest advantages in early stage design. However, when analyzing the outputs more critically, several limitations became clear. Although the designs looked convincing at first, many of them were not structurally realistic. This shows that AI can generate ideas, but it does not fully understand construction in the same way a trained architect does. A limitation also pointed out in the BIM Handbook by Eastman et al. 2018 stresses the importance of technical knowledge in the real world of building design. Another limitation is that many of the designs felt quite generic and lacks site specific context. Even though I changed the prompts and provided feedback, the outputs often followed similar styles. This shows that AI is heavily influenced by existing images it has been trained on, rather than producing completely original ideas. This aligns with research by Davis 2019, who argues that AI in architecture tends to recombine existing design patterns rather than generate entirely new ones. And this can be seen on screen with all of them having the same style and materials and color schemes. At the same time, there are important ethical considerations. Questions around authorship and originality have become more complicated when AI is involved in generating design ideas. If the output is based on existing work, it raises concerns about who owns the design and how much creative control the architect has. These issues are also explored by McCormack, Guilford, and Hutchins in 2019 in their discussion of authorship and intention in computer generated art. Despite these issues, AI is still a valuable asset in architecture. It works well as a brainstorming tool, especially in the early stages of design, where the goal is to explore as many possibilities as possible rather than finalizing details. It can help designers overcome creative blocks and quickly visualize ideas that can then be refined through human decision making. A point also showcased in Shay Yu's 2020 doctoral work on AI supported concept generation. This case study shows that AI is not a replacement for architects, but rather a tool that can support certain parts of the design process. Its strengths lie in speed and visual experimentation, while its weaknesses are in technical understanding and originality, something Negroponte, 1970, predicted early on when he described computers as collaborators rather than autonomous designers. AI can be used as a valuable addition to architecture, particularly for generating early concepts. However, it needs to be used critically, with an understanding of its limitations. The role of an architect still remains essential in interpreting, refining, and making these ideas buildable and meaningful in the real world. AI does not replace architectural thinking, but it reshapes the way ideas are generated. Thank you so much for listening.